Matt, it's been a week after the FA Cup game, no midweek game this week, and bearing in mind the injury situation, I guess you're not too disappointed with that.
No, certainly not. When you look at Charlton going to Reading in the EFL Trophy, you're thinking, "Oh, it's actually maybe a little bit of a blessing there that we didn't have that game squeezed in this week because obviously, as you know, we're very light on numbers, and that would have been a not good timing for that game going into obviously a big game of the weekend."
And looking back at Saturday's game, bearing in mind the disruption we had during it and before it, everybody must be really pleased with the way it went, and in the end, the lack of drama, if you like.
Yeah, it was sort of not, I wouldn't say comfortable, but I've always felt in control, certainly of the game, and yeah, frustrated not to take one of the few chances to go in at half time with the lead. Missed a great chance early second half, and now you're thinking, okay, you need to take one now, and thankfully Dion steps up with two bits of quality, and Amari coming off the bench and adding to that, and seeing off a really pleasing win and a big win for us to make sure we progress into the third round of the cup.
Yeah, the rewards for it. I think we said at the time the rewards just for winning the game, is worth it without looking ahead to the third round. Obviously, the third round draw. Everybody had ideas of what they'd have liked. I guess we have to take what we're given. What's your view on it? What's your view on the draw?
It certainly could have been better, of course, in terms of what we'd be after as a football club, and that's a big Premier League club away from home. That's no disrespect to Plymouth whatsoever, but a massive 50,000-60,000 attendance and a great day out and a big payday, of course, or at home. If you don't get that, and so unfortunately we don't get either. But that's the nature of the draw. It's out of our control. But what we do go is and I know Steve, the manager there, really well. He's a great guy and has done an unbelievable job there. So to get them competing in the Championship is fantastic, and it'll be a really tough game against a good side, in front of a decent crowd against a really good club. I've been there several times before, so I know what to be expecting in terms of that. But yeah, it'd have been nice to be at home, to really that home form is always vital in a cup game. But we're in good form, and obviously we've got a lot of games between now and then anyway. But if we can keep doing what we're doing and get a few injuries back, and see where we are come that first weekend in January, we'll certainly be looking forward to going down there. And now it's our turn to try and be the ones to try and cause the upset, or even get a replay and bring them back to our place. So we'll worry about that nearer the time. But no, certainly looking forward to the game.
I was going to say, it can be parked now. Everybody's had the excitement of the FA Cup over the last few days, but I think it's 6 league games to be played between now and then. Obviously, in our position, all crucially important. Begins this week up at home to Harrogate, who we've got a good record against, but who always give us a good game.
Yeah, and we've known them from our National League days as well. Always tough, hard fought games there. Again, another manager I've got huge respect for. Simon's continually does season upon season doing a great job with a club who would be a similar size to a stature both on and off the pitch. So I have huge respect for what he's doing again this season with them. And as we always know, when we've come up against Harrogate, that we're always going to be in for a game. And obviously we've come across quite a few of their players before over the seasons. But we look forward to locking horns with them again at the weekend, and in what is, of course, another big game, because it's the next game for us. We're back at home. We're on a decent run of form, backing off the clean sheet and the cup win on Saturday. Of course, we're a little bit light on numbers, and we've got to see where we're at. But the ones who are fit are certainly full of confidence, and really looking forward to the game on Saturday.
Just one word about Harrogate. Their form sort of slightly contrary to what most clubs would expect. They're not so good at home, but they've been excellent away this season. I think they're about the third best away record in the league. So certainly worth taking note of.
Definitely, yeah, and maybe the tweaking what they're doing, or whether they've just managed to be quite solid in the sitting on the counter attack. There might be a few different reasons of why they've been a little bit better away from home. But no, whether they're at home or away, we know we're going to be in for a game, and you certainly respect their away record so far this season.
You've mentioned the phrase "light on numbers" a couple of times in this interview already. We saw Ryan Jackson and Omar go off on Saturday to add to the injury list, but having had a week. with no game. How's it looking on the fitness front?
Well, thankfully, both of those two aren't too bad. I'm not saying they're necessarily going to be fit for the weekend. We'll have to wait and see. I'm actually talking to you on a Thursday afternoon, still 48 hours before the game, so we'll really be making a last-minute call there. But hopefully, maybe one or two out of the 9 that weren't available for last weekend that might be nearing for this weekend as well. So hopefully not too bad with the ones we picked up at the weekend, and hopefully one or two may be coming back. So we'll see how those 3 or 4 are leading into the weekend.
Plenty of comment about the way that players who players had to play in unfamiliar positions for a while in last Saturday's game did very well. Presumably you're hoping that you're not going to have to employ that at least from the start on Saturday with any of them.
Well, you'd hope not, but I suppose it would give you a little bit of confidence of how well they did in their out of position jobs for us. But no, you hope to try and pick an 11 that are used to playing in their positions. But what dictates the changes, and certainly did at the weekend, was the injuries into the back line, which really forced our hand into shuffling the pack. And like you say, Christian and Gesson doing really well, and initially at left back and then going into centre half. Joe Kizzy moving into centre half, which we've seen him done before, but Josh Coley fitting in there at right back, and Tope going on at left back I know he's played full back earlier on in his career, so it's not alien to him. And we see him in training and even in one-on-one drills, 2-on-2 drills. He's actually a really good defender and a good one-on-one 2v2 defender. So we had confidence that he'd be okay then. We actually primed him up before the game that it could be the case if there was a problem into the back line that he might get called upon, and just to be aware of that. And that was certainly the case. And I'm really pleased with all those players who defended so well for us, especially in that second half.
And with the current injury situation, was that a little bit in mind why we made Slay only possibly make 3 substitutions in stoppage time, just having made the game safe? Was it desperate to get people off and make sure we didn't suffer anything else?
Yes, it was, to be honest. At 2-0, with us already having forced 2 subs in open play, I couldn't bring the subs on earlier, 75-80, because we're risking the danger of picking an injury up in the last 10 minutes and suddenly us being down to 10 men, not being able to make another sub. So I had to leave it as late as possible. And with the scoreline at 2-0 as well, I was feeling comfortable with the 11 who were out there. Didn't feel I needed to change anything. But the main reason was not leaving ourselves short in case someone got injured after I'd made my 3rd opportunity of making a substitution. So that is why when we scored the 3rd goal, then it was, regardless of how long's left, just to make sure we don't pick another injury up here to bring Dundo and Leon go on up front, just to freshen the front 2 off, and Damani to freshen, and Dion having not played his first 90 for a while. We just thought we'll freshen those 3 up and make sure they're definitely okay.
You raise an interesting point with the situation of substitutions and substitutions made during half time not counting towards your 3. How difficult is it to balance that? We saw Ryan Jackson come off sort of 5 minutes after half time. How difficult is it to balance saying to Ryan, go out and see if it you can run it off, as opposed to you'll have to come off now, because if you come off 5 minutes in 5 minutes time, it reduces the number of subs I can make.
We had it with Louis against Crewe as well. Exactly the same situation. Both came in at half time, but both experienced players, and both 2 people as well as players that I'd obviously trust, and they know their own bodies. But unfortunately, you have to leave it in their hands a little bit. Do you think you're going to be all right? I'm feeling a little bit, but I think I'm going to be fine. And I think I've got through X amount of minutes in the first half. I think no, I'll get out there, get going again. I think I'm going to be all right. And that was probably the repeat from Tuesday onto Saturday, and both said no, I think I'm going to be okay. Sure enough, a minute or 2 in, unfortunately they're not. So I say, can we learn from that? Could I take them off at half time? But on the flip side of things, I don't really want to take those 2 players off, especially with the lack of defensive options on the bench as well at half time to take that risk. So I thought I'd try and chance it with both of them to hopefully that they'll be okay. But unfortunately, neither of them were.
And while we've talked about the defence being a bit light in the last few weeks, but one position we're not in goalkeepers, and also now wingers with the way Dion played on Saturday. You're now sort of sport for choice with the wingers as well as with goalkeepers.
Yeah, and Rosie's one who's back into training as well. Yeah, and Dion coming back from international duty and putting a really good performance there. So now got some really good options in those positions, like you say.
Well, we look forward to Saturday's game as always. Hope it's the the last game against a side in the lower half of the table for about 5 games. So obviously you'll be looking important ones to try and take advantage of that before what looks like a testing run over Christmas.
Yeah, we're not looking too far ahead. It's the next game that we're concentrating on. It's a big, important game. Harrogate won't be any less of a test than the next 5, that's for sure. So they'll all be tough in their own right, as every game is. So we're concentrating on the next one. That's Harrogate, and in full preparation to hopefully keep this positive run going and get a good result.
Well, thanks as always, Matt, for talking to us, and we'll catch up with you on Saturday. And good luck to the lads for Saturday.
Brilliant. Thanks, Tony. Cheers.